There's a saying that goes, sometimes you have to take a step back to move things forward. And it's the whole analogy for taking a step back with the bow and arrow so that you give the arrow as much force and momentum as possible to move forward. And I'll tell you, that saying is so relevant to me right now and where I am on the To Be Caribbean journey. I just thought I'd share. Who knows, it might help someone. At the very least, you know where I'm coming from. So why not, right? I'm not the biggest fan of videos, but new month, new things. So here we go. So yeah, taking a step back on the To Be Caribbean journey. So there were a lot of signs along the way that this was something I wanted to do, I was passionate about. But I think my first big trigger came when I was in grad school. I was the only Caribbean student there. And I started to realize there were a lot of stereotypes about the Caribbean that were interesting. Yeah, let's use the word interesting. But it really sparked a desire in me to educate more people about what it really meant to be Caribbean. And then the second trigger came when I left school and I started working in corporate America. And I was working with these huge companies, these big brands, big budgets, and I was learning so much about branding and packaging and marketing. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I could share this with my community about how we could brand and package our music and culture so that our local artisans could get paid top dollar, you know? And specifically music and culture, because I think those are our greatest assets and exports. So I was like, all right, To Be Caribbean was born, let's do this. Jump in 2 feet first. Didn't really have a plan. No, I take that back. I did take the time to do a business plan and a marketing plan. I just left school. I was still excited about those things. But those plans quickly went by the wayside when I had to deal with the day-to-day execution of a blog, right? So I think in my head, I thought a blog was just writing, posting something on a website and hoping somebody reads it. The reality was very different. The reality was that it required research, then writing, then putting it on the website, which was a multi-layered process, and then posting it on social media and promoting it on social media. So the ideas I had in my head that I was going to write a blog every day and, you know, post on social media every few hours just didn't make sense. It was not sustainable, you know? So speaking about that, that leads me to my second point. It's not just important to have a plan as a small business owner, but I think it's also important to have a plan that fits your reality. Because I think as small business owners, we tend to be dreamers. We have big ideas, we have great things we want to achieve, but sometimes those great ideas don't fit our reality, you know? So for me, my reality was, I had a corporate gig that took up a significant amount of time. And then I had commitments outside of corporate, like the radio station, that took up more time. And then I was also the caregiver for someone with special needs, which took up even more time. So that was 98.9% of my time. So the remaining time was either to sleep or work on the blog. Needless to say, the burnout came quick, fast, and in a hurry. So the plans that I had about posting a blog a day and posting on social media every few hours did not fit my reality. And the other thing is, like, dealing with reality, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of social media, keeping it real. Like, I understand its power as a marketer, but for me, I'm one of those people who believes in living life and not just posting about it. And I don't really like to keep up with other people on social media. You know, I just think there are other things to do with your life except looking at a phone. So all that to say, the plan of posting on social media every few hours was dumb. It didn't fit my reality. It was not sustainable, which leads me to my third point, sustainability. I would say one of the key learnings recently when I took a step back was the importance of creating processes so that other people could support what you're doing. I didn't do that. I didn't create a space for other people to help me. So what was happening was there were a lot of people who were volunteering and wanted to be part of the movement. And I was like, yes, jump in, 2 feet in, because that's my style. Let's do this. And then they would join and it'll be like, so what do we do? And I didn't have an answer because I didn't have a plan that I could follow. And I didn't have processes in place so that I could outsource certain parts of what I was doing, for example, social media. So yeah, key learning was about having processes in place so that I could give other people direction and step away from certain things and avoid burnout, you know? And having that direction, I think, would have fed a lot of different things, including my fourth point and final point, knowing what outcomes I wanted. So I would say when I started, I just knew I wanted to educate people about Caribbean music and culture, and I wanted to educate Caribbean community about marketing best practices. That was it, the end. And recently I started to evaluate what was happening, right? So what happened was I created a space that allowed me to express myself. And I was blessed in that I could leverage a radio station to shine a light on some of what I was doing. And because of that, a lot of opportunities started coming my way in terms of hosting events in the city or planning different Caribbean events that were large scale. And when I did an assessment recently, I realized that those gigs were actually pretty lucrative. And I thought to myself, I was like, after all the time and resources that I've invested into this, having a little financial return wouldn't hurt, you know? If not, even though I didn't start with that intention, right? But financial return would allow me to maintain things or allow me to pay the people who have been helping me to maintain. So why not, you know? And I was like, it's important to know what outcomes you want out of whatever you're doing, and it could be financial, it could be otherwise, but you need to know that going in because that feeds a lot of things. So those four things I would say were my big takeaways recently when I took a step back to move things forward. You know, having a plan, more importantly, having a plan that fits your reality, having processes in place so other people could support you, and then knowing what outcomes you want out of your project, whatever they may be. So yeah, that's the first episode of Marketing Moves. Yo, I so do not like videos, but here we are. So anyway, I promise the next one is not going to be this long. I'm just nervous, it's the first one. But I really would love to hear from you because I think it's important, right? As small business owners, sometimes to hear what other people are doing, what they're doing wrong, what they're getting right. Just exchanging best practices really helps to keep small business owners lifted on a very challenging journey. So to that point, I really would love to hear from you. Just, you know, what have been some of your challenges with your small businesses? What have you done right? What did you do recently to take a step back so you can move things forward? Let me know, hit me up, DM, comments, and stay tuned for the next episode of Marketing Moves. Yeah.